Hey, it's David here at Skinny Vegan Fitness, back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 8 reasons that you shouldn't go vegan, as stated by Farmers Weekly magazine. That's right, Farmers Weekly released an article titled 8 Reasons Why Becoming Vegan is the Wrong Choice. So today, I'm going to go through the 8 reasons that you shouldn't become vegan and debunk them one by one. Before we go on with the video, do those 3 things for me: like, comment, and subscribe. If you like my channel, if you like my videos, please do that. It really helps me out. And now let's take a look at some of these points, the 8 reasons that you shouldn't become vegan. Reason number 1, mutuality. Man has always lived in a mutually beneficial relationship with animals. Well, we're off to a bad start because that's just a straight up lie. Man has not always lived in a mutually beneficial relationship with animals at all. It goes on to say it's a contract. We provide for them, they provide for us. That's not true. That's not how it works at all. Providing for someone doesn't mean that you chop them up or you abuse their body. That's not providing for them. That's abusing them. That's exploiting them. A better example of a mutually beneficial relationship between human and non-human would be, for example, someone who adopts a dog. Now, if you adopt a dog into your home, you have taken them out of a situation that they needed help in, which is great. And it's mutually beneficial because now you care for them and they will care for you. For example, people would be less likely to select your house to rob it because there would be a dog present. Now that's a mutually beneficial relationship because it's not like you forced the dog to defend your home. Just by default, the dog being there will put people off trying to rob the home, or it will also put off rats and other animals coming into the home that maybe you don't want to come in. That's an example of a mutually beneficial relationship, not animal exploitation. Someone who cares deeply for an animal then puts it in the food chain for our benefit is not a monster. People who think we're beyond that because we live in the rich, overfed world insult those who don't agree. So there's 2 points to consider here. Let's just go with the second one. So that's an appeal to emotion. So basically it's kind of saying, if you don't agree with me, then you should feel bad. You're insulting people. It's a manipulation tactic. It's something used by a lot of different people. So I think we should just ignore that and not get into it. But there's someone who cares deeply for an animal, then puts it in the food chain for our benefit is not a monster. Well, it is monstrous to take innocent beings that can't consent and that have a very limited understanding of the world around them and then put them into a food chain for people to enjoy the taste of their bodies. Because we have to remember that the majority of people, this is a UK-based website, so the majority of people that are going to be consuming animal products are not consuming them for survival, they're consuming them for taste, pleasure. So maybe it doesn't make you a monster, but it makes you unethical. It makes you highly immoral to take an animal that trusts you and that you have apparently put a lot of care into that animal and made them trust you, and to abuse that trust, to walk them into a slaughterhouse. I mean, yeah, I won't call you a monster, but it is pretty monstrous. It is a pretty monstrous thing to do. Point number 2, dependency. The survival of huge numbers of people in the world depends on animals for food, clothing, fuel, and transport. There are definitely people in the world that are depending on animals, and that's really sad, isn't it? Is that not sad that people are in such hard-pressed situations that they have to depend on the exploitation of other sentient beings? These people are already so oppressed to the point where the only way they can survive is by oppressing others. I'd say that's absolutely really sad. But it's not relevant to you writing this article in the UK, where that's not the case for the vast majority of people. Their economies and cultures are based on it. We are not superior to them. Oh, we agree on that. We're not superior to them for sure. I totally agree with you on that. And the fact their economies and cultures are based on it, yeah, absolutely I agree with that. But economies change and cultures change. It's not an excuse to continue doing it just because it's the way it's always been done. The economy used to depend on human slavery. The cultures used to depend on human slavery. The culture of India, for example, used to depend on casteism. So certain people having higher castes would be the dominant individuals, the dominant households, the dominant communities, and those with lower castes would scrape and try to get by. And that's still kind of the case in some places now, in some parts of India now, this has lingered. But obviously the culture has changed and it's no longer accepted by most people. So economies and cultures that are oppressive can absolutely change. What's more, importing their commodities gives us a lifestyle that is a luxury by their standard and is not defensible. Now, this is making a false claim that to be vegan means that you have to rely on imported goods from other countries like third world countries. It's absolutely not the case. You can eat local, you can eat seasonal, and you can be vegan. So if that is really your concern, that you're really, really concerned about other people in other countries, if this is something that really bothers you, then just eat local foods then. Or just eat foods that have been imported ethically. Like make an effort to be a fully, sustainable, ethical, eco-friendly vegan if that's what you want to do. Sustainability is point number 3. Our consumption of the world's resources and our environmental footprints are massive compared with the people I've been talking about. Unless we really live off the grid, everything we do contributes. I totally agree. Like we're on the same page here. That's true. We are consuming far too much. We have a massive environmental footprint. Unless we live off the grid, everything we do contributes, and we totally agree on this point. Eating soya instead of meat doesn't change that. Quite the opposite. It's assuming that vegans are saying just eat soy. When you can be a soy-free vegan, there are many soy-free vegans. They're soy-free for various reasons. Some of them have allergies, some of them just don't want to eat soy. Some of them have concerns about the environment and sustainability, such as this individual. So if you don't want to eat soy, don't eat soy. Eat whole food plant-based and be a whole food plant-based vegan. It's not like you have to eat soy if you don't eat meat. There are many alternatives to the nutrition and also like, not that it's that important, but the texture and taste of animal flesh, you can get it in many different ways without soy. So this point is null, it's a null point. Point number 4, responsibility. We are what we eat. Yeah, okay, totally agree. How can it be wrong to eat something produced where we can see it, raised on grass, water, and sunshine, and right to eat something highly processed and flavored, made from imported products? Again, a straw man. This person is assuming that vegans are just saying, eat imported products, eat flavored products, eat processed products, and that's all we're saying. No, absolutely not. Veganism is not about eating specific foods. It's about rejecting animal exploitation. And you can reject animal exploitation and also avoid processed foods, and you can also avoid flavored foods and imported foods if this is your focus. If your focus is also how to be environmentally friendly and how to help others in the world as well as the non-humans, then you can do this. You can avoid all of those processed and all these bad foods. It's easy to do that. You can eat local, you can eat seasonal. Touching on the point here, how can it be wrong to eat something produced that we can see, etc.? Well, it can be wrong, for example, if it's a dog. If this is a dog and I raised that dog and I know what they were eating and I fed them with water and sunshine and this beautiful life, and then it's wrong to eat them though, isn't it? In the UK culture at least, it's wrong to eat them. Well, why? I've seen them, I've raised them, I did all the things you've just said here, so how is it wrong then? And then now we get into the realm of speciesism, because now I've used this person's theory, this logic to say I can now eat the dog, but this person would argue against me and say, no, you can't eat the dog because of our culture. You see the point? It's a massively flawed point. This article's full of them, unfortunately. Number 5 is health. What we eat now isn't unhealthy. We just eat too much and we don't eat a balanced diet. Well, that is unhealthy then. Eating too much and not eating a balanced diet is unhealthy. So that doesn't really understand that point. Meat is part of a balanced diet, as is fish and dairy. I completely disagree. I've eaten a balanced diet my whole life and I've never eaten meat or fish. I was born vegetarian, and there are many people around the world that are in the exact same position as me. Some people even born vegan, so that's just fundamentally not true. Switching to a plant-based diet is not the answer. The answer to what? To being healthy? Well, the whole food plant-based diet has shown in many, many studies now across a wide range of people and big study groups that it absolutely is the answer to a lot of people's problems. Like, it's helped a lot of people to reverse really serious sicknesses and really serious deficiencies. No, absolutely, it is the answer for some people. If we are concerned about where our food comes from, let's buy local and eat seasonal. We don't get fooled either. Totally agree. If you're concerned about where your food comes from, eat local, seasonal, plant-based. It's that simple. It's sustainable. You know exactly where your food's coming from. You'll be able to go to the farms and the places where it's being grown, and you don't have to exploit animals. And then everyone wins. The animals win, you win, other people in other countries win because we're not exploiting them. So if that's what you want to do, if you agree with this, then do that. I don't really understand the argument here. 6, individualism. We think we're standing up for ourselves on the planet, but we're being taken for a ride. Supermarkets, advertisers, fitness gurus, trendy restaurants, and cookery book writers love what we are doing. We're the new market, and they will take every penny we have. As for helping the environment, I don't really understand the last point, but that's a really good point. I totally agree. There are tons of people taking advantage of vegans and people who are interested in veganism, absolutely. But don't forget, they're also taking advantage of people who are interested in keto, the keto diet. They're taking advantage of, there's so many of those people like fitness gurus and recipe book people and stuff like that that are pushing keto and the carnivore diet. So this is not only a vegan problem, this is a people problem. These people, these salespeople, they exploit people, regardless of what the topic is, whether it be veganism or carnivore or keto or whatever kind of new thing. Like veganism is not a fad. Veganism is a stance against animal exploitation, but these people will frame it as a fad. They do this to people. They're really bad, and I totally agree with you. We should spot this and we should stop it. We should stop people pushing the unethical agendas, like pretending to be a fitness guru or, and I don't think there's anything wrong with making money from good advice and good information, but there is absolutely a problem with some people taking advantage of a growing trend, and I would absolutely say, I don't agree with consumerism, the consumerist veganism. I don't agree with that, and I hope that we can look to a more ethical and sustainable vegan community and vegan movement globally moving forward. I really hope that that's something we achieve. Number 7, conservation. The countryside we love is not maintained by people with mowers and shears, it's grazed by animals. That's true. We couldn't grow anything but grass on 2/3 of it. Why not take a free resource and use it to feed people and store carbon while looking after the landscapes, habitats and species we value so much, not to mention what's under our feet? Part of this I agree with, part of it I disagree with. The part I agree with is that I think it is good to have animals out on the land, of course. Like they do great things for the ecosystem, especially in the UK. And there's no arguing with that, it's great. What I disagree with is using them as a resource, and imagining that they are just like something to just filter the nutrient through and then give it to humans. That's basically what this person is saying. Like we use it to feed people and store carbon. The way that he's saying use it to feed people is that, okay, we're going to feed the grass to animals and kill the animals and feed to people. It's not ethical. I agree with the idea of having animals out there, but I don't agree with the idea of you rounding them up and shipping them to a slaughterhouse after they've spent their lives living like as they should, and then you rip them out of that life and then cut their throat, hang them upside down, and bleed out because some people want to snack on them and you want to make money. And that's what it boils down to. This is kind of like virtue signaling, this conservation point. It's like we're doing something good for the environment, and it's like, okay, I get you, but the real reason you do it is not that. The real reason you do it is that money. You want that money. Otherwise, you wouldn't take them and kill them. You just care for the environment. You figure out a way to do it. So yeah, don't try and virtue signal by telling us this is for conservation when in reality it is purely for profit. You're trying to make money. Number 8, soil. Now that we've seen the results of years of large-scale arable cropping, we want to get animals back on the land. It's not just about grass. The soil under animals' hooves benefits hugely from all these microprocesses involving grazing, trending, and recycling of nutrients that billions of flora and fauna depend on. Livestock are life. They're not livestock, all right? They're not. That's not what they are. They're beings. So calling them livestock, it just reduces them to stock, because there is livestock and dead stock. Dead stock are the animals that have died on the farm from disease or for something else, and basically because they died on the farm in a certain way, they're not able to be sold, so they're called dead stock. They're not for profit. They will bury them on the farm, or they'd hire someone to come and take them away. So they reduce animals to these titles, livestock and dead stock, as commodities, as things to be traded or things that can't be traded. So it's important to note that when we're talking about animals here, and then we get these farmers, like this specific farmers, how they care about the animals and all these things, but then they refer to them as stock. So it doesn't add up. Now back onto the point. As I said in the previous point, I agree with the idea of rejuvenating the environment, the countryside. I think it's a great thing to be able to do, and I absolutely agree with this individual here that to get animals back on the land, it's great, it helps everyone, all the microprocessors, etc. What I don't agree with is, as I've already said in the last point, is then ripping them out of that situation. You put them in this beautiful situation where they can thrive and enjoy their lives and be the animals they are supposed to be the cows, be the be the sheep, just be who they're supposed to be, and then you rip them out, and then you put them in this disgusting place where they're all having their throats slit and hung upside down, bleeding out to death. And if you don't think that happens, you're probably thinking, oh, that's a halal thing, that's only a halal thing. No, every single animal that enters a slaughterhouse in the UK is bolt gunned in the head to knock them unconscious, hung upside down and has their throat slit, and then goes along a chain from there. Some of them will be conscious at that point or semi-conscious. They are killed by having their throat slit. That is how they are killed. The author closes with, if we feel better for being vegan, fine, but we're not saving the world. Yeah, totally. Veganism doesn't save the world. Veganism is imperfect. It is an imperfect idea. It is an imperfect practice of living. When you go into more specifics, you can see that veganism is flawed in many ways. You know, you can be a junk food vegan, you can eat really bad food, you can be a vegan that is bad for the environment too, of course. Or you could be a conscious vegan who is also trying to live sustainably and live healthily, as well as avoiding animal exploitation. It's totally possible. We have no right to preach and no justification for doing atrocious things to people who have just proved their worth to us in this crisis. So I guess this person's talking about defending farmers, like we've no right to do atrocious things to them when they've been helping in the crisis. I mean, again, it's an appeal to emotion. Farmers do what farmers do to make profit. It's not like they're on some quest, some virtuous quest to save the world and save the planet and save the environment and just help people be healthy. No, what they do is they breed and enslave and exploit sentient beings that have no capacity to consent. They have the same intellect as a human child, and farmers exploit and take advantage of that for profit. And I don't hate them, I don't hate animal farmers, but to dress up what they do as anything but that, it's just ridiculous to try to make it something virtuous. It really is, to me, ridiculous. And for farmers watching this, if any farmers do end up watching this, animal farmers end up watching this, I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I just wish that you would seek something that doesn't involve doing those things to innocent animals that have done nothing to deserve it. So that's it for this video. If you have any other articles that you'd like me to respond to or react to, please do send them over to me. You can email them to me at skinnyveganfit@gmail.com, or you can send me in the comments, or you can contact me on Instagram. It's skinnyveganfitness. Before you go, do those 3 things for me. Like, comment, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it really helps my channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.